A special Stuart 5A steam engine repair, part 6, putting the engine back together, also known as engine reassembly. I'm very pleased with the fit of the newly remachined big end brasses. There's no slack at all. And the fit of the big end brasses on the crank pin is excellent. So now it's time to get everything ready to accept the standards and the rest of the engine. While there's plenty of free space until I reassemble the engine, I thought it was a good idea to clean up some of the engine parts, and here I'm removing a large spot of rust from one of the expansion links using some very coarse sandpaper. I'm not going to spend too much time on the cosmetic appearance because this is after all a working engine. The owner thought that the knocking noise that the engine was making was coming from this Eccentric, which it wasn't, and it's time to reassemble this part to go back on the engine. I've just refitted the oil pipe to it. That's the red part at the bottom right of the picture. Having an extension pipe like this is a good idea because it acts as an oil reservoir. And with my telescopic magnets at the ready in case I drop any nuts into the bottom of the engine, I'm reassembling the Eccentric strap on the Eccentric sheave. This engine sits on a metal box, which is a great idea because it acts as a kind of, well, not a sump, but a reservoir to pick up all the oil that drops from the bearings. The trouble is, if you drop any of these small nuts into the bottom of the box, they're very difficult to get out. Even when using a telescopic magnet, it still takes some time to find them in the bottom of the tank. I've fitted the lock nuts, and here I'm tightening one of them up. On an engine of this type, lock nuts are quite important because if any of the parts like this worked loose, it could be catastrophic, not to mention you would be stuck in the middle of the river. Don't forget this is not a model. The engine powers a full-size boat. In this clip I'm refitting the Eccentric rod to the expansion link. And once again all of the fits are excellent. And the only part of the engine that wasn't a good fit was the part that I've just repaired, that wore out very quickly because it was starved of oil. But that's okay now, and the oil way's been cleaned out before I fitted it. An eagle-eyed viewer spotted some black particles coming out of the hole as I was flushing the oil way through with the oil can. So that part of the engine should be okay from now on, provided that the oil supply is kept clean before it's put in the tank. I think I'll suggest to the owner that he puts a steel mesh over the top of the oil tank, and this will stop the ingression of foreign particles. Originally I was going to wash down this engine, but I changed my mind on this. There's quite a lot of vegetation on this engine, obviously from trees around where the boat's kept, and I think the oil way was possibly blocked by a piece of leaf. I think once I've fully reassembled the engine and run it for a while to run it in, then that's the time I'll wash the body of the engine down using some white spirit. And that should remove all these black bits that you can see, which are bits of leaves. In this clip I've been bolting the standards back onto the engine, first of all using a socket in a screwdriver. This special socket driver is from my socket set, and it's the type that you can use a ratchet lever with. These are very useful things to have in the workshop, and I use it frequently. When reassembling an engine like this, you don't need to use a torque wrench or anything fancy, just don't shear off the bolts. What I'm about to do is fit the die block into the expansion link. Once again, the engineering standard is wonderful on this engine. The die block is machined to be such a good fit in the expansion link. I'm centralising the die block using a scriber, and once the pin is in the correct position, I tap it into place using a soft hammer. And once the pin is in place, it's time to fit the nut and lock nut at the back of it. I'm locking the nuts together on this pin using two spanners, one thinner than the other. And now it's time to fit the drag links to the operating arm. I think these parts are called drag links because they drag the expansion link back and forth, but maybe they're not. I'm sure some expert will tell me what the correct term is. This time I'm using my barcode spanner to tighten up the lock nut and a very thin spanner on the inner nut. And once it's all together, it's time to test it. And not unsurprisingly, the movement of the die block within the expansion link is very smooth indeed. That's one side finished. I'll just test the lever to make sure that everything works fine. I like this fitting, it's so well made. And one feature is, at this point of the travel, there's a mechanism that allows the lever to click into 3 preset positions for notching up. And this notching up mechanism makes it so the valves travel less and the engine uses less steam. Moving on now, or should I say across to the other expansion link, I'm fitting the die block in place on this, once again using the scriber to centralise it in the hole. And in almost exactly the same way I fit the pin, which didn't need tapping in at this side, but it's still a perfect fit. The builder of this engine is called Mr. Stant, and I congratulate him on his considerable skill to make an engine to this standard. The small ends are fitted into the crosshead in quite an unusual way. I would have expected a cross drilling for a split pin, but apparently not. At the side of the crosshead pin where the nut is a soft washer. This is like a tab washer, and once the nut bites into this soft material, everything locks in place. The tabs are bent round each side of the connecting rod. As I assemble this engine, I'm applying oil to the larger moving parts. I will oil the rest before I run it. Time to fit the central oiler. This is really the emergency oiler where you can put an oil gun on it in case the oil pump fails. On a bracket right at the top of the engine is a nipple for an oil gun. After tightening up the fitting, I fit the nut and the pipe to it. Now it's time to fit the smaller diameter oil piping from the mechanical lubricator, which feeds the steam oil to lubricate both of the cylinders. But that's about it. The engine is fully back together, ready to run. I'll be running the engine in the next episode to find out if my repair is successful or not. I will also be checking out the functionality of the oil pump system generally. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website. Click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you will find it very easy to find other videos that you may like to watch.